While you are watching this video right now, 9 million people are in the streets of America. Cities from coast to coast, small towns, suburbs, places that have never seen a protest before today. And they are all saying the same 3 words: no kings. Now here's what nobody on those streets knows. Nobody holding a sign, nobody with a megaphone, nobody organizing the march or streaming it live. 3,000 years before today, before America existed, before the Constitution was written, before anyone had ever heard of democracy, God said the exact same thing. Not as a protest, not as a movement, as a warning, and the people who heard it did not listen. What I am about to show you is the conversation that started all of this. The conversation between a grieving old prophet and the God of the universe, recorded in a book that most people carry but very few actually read. And once you hear it, you will never watch the news the same way again. Black people, stay with me especially, because you have been living the answer to this question your entire lives. You just did not know you knew it. Let me ask you something nobody asked you in Sunday school. Why did God get sad when his people asked for a king, not angry first? Sad first. Think about that. The God who created the universe, the God who parted the Red Sea, the God who rained fire from heaven. That God felt hurt, felt rejected, like a father whose child chose a stranger over him. 1 Samuel chapter 8. Read it slowly. The elders of Israel come to Samuel. Samuel is old, his sons are corrupt, the people are frustrated, and they say something that changes everything. Verse 5. Give us a king to judge us like all the other nations. Like all the other nations. That phrase right there. That is the problem. Not the request for leadership, the desire to be like everyone else, to fit in, to look normal, to have what the world has. God hears it. And in verse 7, he says something that has never fully been preached from the pulpits that taught you. They have not rejected you, Samuel. They have rejected me. Let that sink in. The only time in all of Scripture where God says directly, I have been rejected by my own people. Not rejected through idol worship. Not rejected through disobedience. Rejected through the specific act of choosing a human king over divine kingship. This is not ancient history. This is the blueprint for every empire that has ever fallen. And right now, today, 9 million people are in the streets waving that same rejection, back in the face of human power. They do not know they are quoting 1 Samuel, but God does. Now, before I build this case, piece by piece, let me tell you exactly what we are going to cover today. Because this is not a simple video, this is a trial. And I am going to build the evidence, the way an architect builds a cathedral stone by stone, so that by the time we reach the top, you will see exactly what it was designed to hold. First, we are going to look at the moment God's heart broke. 1 Samuel 8. The conversation most preachers skip. Second, we are going to open Deuteronomy 17, a passage written before Israel had a single king. God already knew. And he left a blueprint, a constitutional checklist for power. 7 conditions, and every single one of them is in the headlines right now. Third, we are going to meet Gideon, the man who had more power than anyone in Israel and gave it back. Because he understood something that 9 million protesters are just now learning. Fourth, we are going to look at what Psalm 146 and Acts 17 say about where real authority lives. Hint, it is not in Washington. Fifth, we are going to connect all of it to what is unfolding in real time today, this hour, across every state in this country. And then, we are going to pray. Because information without intercession is just noise. You will never watch the news the same way again. You will never hear the word democracy without hearing the scripture underneath it. You will never wonder again why your grandmother called Jesus king, even when every human institution had failed her. By the time this video ends, those three things will be permanently changed in you. Now, let me show you why today was always coming. Every empire in human history has tried the same experiment. Put a man on the throne of God. Give him absolute power. Call it divine right. Call it manifest destiny. Call it national security. The names change. The experiment stays the same. And the experiment always ends the same way. Babylon had Nebuchadnezzar. He stood on the roof of his palace and said, "Is this not the great Babylon I have built?" Daniel chapter 4. God took his mind that same hour. He crawled in the fields like an animal for 7 years. Rome had Caesar, built an empire that touched every shore of the known world, declared himself divine, called himself father of the fatherland. 400 years later, Rome was ash. Egypt had Pharaoh, richest civilization on earth, most powerful military, and God systematically dismantled it through 10 plagues until the wealth of Egypt walked out on the backs of the people Pharaoh had held in bondage. This is not coincidence. This is pattern. Every kingdom built on the foundation of human supremacy, built on the idea that one man or one system sits above God's law, eventually hears the same sound. The sound of stones falling. Not if, when. According to data from Harvard University's Crowd Counting Consortium, the research body that tracks political demonstrations across America, the No Kings protests of June and October 2025 were already among the largest single-day demonstrations in American history. Today's mobilization is estimated to surpass both. More than 3,000 local events, all 50 states, communities that have never organized before. That is not sociology. That is Daniel chapter 2, verse 21, manifesting. He removes kings and sets up kings. The movement does not know that verse, but the movement is living it. Now here's the thing that should stop you cold. None of this is new. None of this is surprising to God. He wrote the warning before the first king was ever crowned. He gave Moses a message for a nation that had not yet asked for a king because he already knew they would. That message is in Deuteronomy 17, and most people have never read it. What God put in that chapter is not just ancient law. It is the most sophisticated check on power ever written. Before Athens invented democracy, before Magna Carta, before the American Constitution, God gave humanity a framework for what happens when you put a human being in ultimate authority. And the framework was not here, is how to be a good king. The framework was here, is exactly how kings will destroy you if you let them. I am going to walk you through every word of it in a moment. But first, I need you to understand something about why black people in particular need to hear this. You did not end up in America by accident. Your ancestors did not survive what they survived by accident. And the faith that was carried through the Middle Passage, through the fields, through Jim Crow, through every system that was designed to break it, that faith was not accidental either. There is a reason the black church has always called Jesus king, even when no human king had ever treated you like you mattered. There is a reason your grandmothers sang about a king that no election could crown and no courthouse could dethrone. They knew something, instinctively, spiritually, generationally. They knew what 1 Samuel 8 meant before they could name the chapter and verse. They had lived it. They had watched what happened when you placed your hope in human power. They had seen what kings do to people who are not useful to them. So they chose a different king, And that choice, that ancient, faithful, costly choice, is exactly what 9 million people in the streets are just beginning to discover today. But here is the painful part. Here is what I need you to sit with. While America is waking up to this truth today, your community has been paying tuition on it for generations. The marches your ancestors took, the churches they built without permission, the prayers they prayed when there was no reason left to pray. All of that was the living answer to a question the rest of the country is only now asking. You were not behind. You were never behind. You have always been the lesson America refused to learn. And now, finally, the lesson is coming due. Stay with me. Because what I am about to show you in Deuteronomy 17 is going to change the way you read every headline for the rest of your life. Open your Bible to Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 14. When you enter the land the Lord your God is giving you, and have taken possession of it and settled in it, and you say, let us set a king over us like all the nations around us. Stop right there. God is speaking to Moses. Israel has not crossed the Jordan yet. They have not seen the promised land. They do not have a single soldier on Canaanite soil. And God is already addressing a request that will not come for another 400 years. He already knew. He knew the hunger for a king was coming. He knew the moment would arrive when his people would look at the nations around them and feel inadequate, feel exposed, feel like divine protection was not enough, that they needed something they could see, something they could touch, something with a crown and a throne and an army. God knew. So he wrote the blueprint before the crisis arrived. Verses 15 through 17. 7 conditions, 7 lines in the sand. Condition 1. The king must be chosen by God, not by popularity, not by inheritance, not by force, by God. Condition 2. He must be one of your own people, not a foreigner with foreign loyalties. Condition 3. He must not accumulate horses for himself. Horses were the military technology of the ancient world. Tanks, fighter jets, the most advanced weapons system available. God said the king cannot build an excessive military apparatus and call it national security. Let that sink in. Condition 4. He must not make the people return to Egypt to acquire more horses. In other words, he cannot use the people as instruments to feed his own military ambitions. Condition 5. He must not take many wives, or his heart will be led astray. Power and unchecked personal appetite always travel together. Always. Condition 6. He must not accumulate excessive silver and gold for himself. The treasury of the nation is not his personal account. And condition 7, the one that almost never gets preached. Verse 18, he must write out a copy of this law for himself on a scroll, in his own hand. Not have a secretary do it. Not commission a team, his own hand. And he must read it every day of his life, so that he does not consider himself better than his fellow Israelites, so that he does not turn from the law to the right or to the left. 7 conditions, all of them designed to answer one question. What does power do to a human being when there is no check on it? God already knew the answer. Power elevates. Power isolates. Power accumulates. Power forgets. And when power forgets, people suffer. This is not politics. This is the oldest warning in the library of human governance. Now here's the twist that changes everything about how you read today's news. This chapter was not written as a prophecy of what would happen. It was written as a warning of what must not happen. But Israel ignored every single condition. Every king who turned the nation toward destruction violated these exact 7 lines.
Deuteronomy 17. Thou shalt not sacrifice unto the Lord thy God any bullock or sheep wherein is blemish, or any evil favoredness, for that is an abomination unto the Lord thy God. If there be found among you within any of thy gates which the Lord thy God giveth thee, man or woman, that hath wrought wickedness in the sight of the Lord thy God, in transgressing his covenant, and hath gone and served other gods, and worshipped them, either the sun or moon, or any of the host of heaven, which I have not commanded, and it be told thee, and thou hast heard of it, and inquired diligently, and behold, it be true, and the thing certain that such abomination is wrought in Israel, then shalt thou bring forth that man or that woman, which have committed that wicked thing, unto thy gates, even that man or that woman, and shalt stone them with stones till they die. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is worthy of death be put to death. But at the mouth of 1 witness he shall not be put to death. The hands of the witnesses shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterward the hands of all the people. So thou shalt put the evil away from among you. If there arise a matter too hard for thee in judgment, between blood and blood, between plea and plea, and between stroke and stroke, being matters of controversy within thy gates, then shalt thou arise, and get thee up into the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. And thou shalt come unto the priests, the Levites, and unto the judge that shall be in those days, and inquire, and they shall show thee the sentence of judgment. And thou shalt do according to the sentence which they of that place which the Lord shall choose shall show thee. And thou shalt observe to do according to all that they inform thee, according to the sentence of the law which they shall teach thee, and according to the judgment which they shall tell thee, thou shalt do. Thou shalt not decline from the sentence which they shall show thee, to the right hand nor to the left. And the man that will do presumptuously, and will not hearken unto the priest that standeth to minister there before the Lord thy God, or unto the judge, even that man shall die, and thou shalt put away the evil from Israel. And all the people shall hear and fear, and do no more presumptuously. When thou art come unto the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shalt possess it, and shalt dwell therein, and shalt say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee. Whom the Lord thy God shall choose, one from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as the Lord hath said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. And it shall be, when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book out of that which is before the priests, the Levites. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord his God, to keep all the words of this law and these statutes to do them, that his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, and that he turn not aside from the commandment to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Israel. Judges 8. And the men of Ephraim said unto him, Why hast thou served us thus, that thou callest us not, when thou wentest to fight with the Midianites? And they did chide with him sharply. And he said unto them, What have I done now in comparison of you? Is not the gleaning of the grapes of Ephraim better than the vintage of Abiezer? God hath delivered into your hands the princes of Midian, Oreb, and Zeb. And what was I able to do in comparison of you? Then their anger was abated toward him, when he had said that. And Gideon came to Jordan and passed over, he and the 300 men that were with him, faint yet pursuing them. And he said unto the men of Succoth, Give, I pray you, loaves of bread unto the people that follow me, for they be faint, and I am pursuing after Zebah and Zalmunna, kings of Midian. And the princes of Succoth said, Are the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna now in thine hand, that we should give bread unto thine army? And Gideon said, Therefore when the Lord hath delivered Zebah and Zalmunna into mine hand, then I will tear your flesh with the thorns of the wilderness and with briars. And he went up thence to Penuel, and spake unto them likewise. And the men of Penuel answered him as the men of Succoth had answered him. And he spake also unto the men of Penuel, saying, When I come again in peace, I will break down this tower. Now Zebah and Zalmunna were in Karkor, and their hosts with them, about 15,000 men, all that were left of all the hosts of the children of the east. For there fell 120,000 men that drew sword. And Gideon went up by the way of them that dwelt in tents on the east of Nobar and Jogbeah, and smote the host, for the host was secure. And when Zebah and Zalmunna fled, he pursued after them, and took the 2 kings of Midian, Zebah and Zalmunna, and discomfited all the host. And Gideon the son of Joash returned from battle before the sun was up, and caught a young man of the men of Succoth, and inquired of him. And he described unto him the princes of Succoth and the elders thereof, even 70 men. And he came unto the men of Succoth, and said, Behold, Zebah and Zalmunna, with whom ye did upbraid me, saying, Are the hands of Zebah and Zalmunna now in thine hand, that we should give bread unto thy men that are weary? And he took the elders of the city, and thorns of the wilderness and briars, and with them he taught the men of Succoth. And he beat down the tower of Penuel, and slew the men of the city. Then said he unto Zebah and Zalmunna, What manner of men were they whom ye slew at Tabor? And they answered, As thou art, so were they. Each one resembled the children of a king. And he said, They were my brethren, even the sons of my mother. As the Lord liveth, if ye had saved them alive, I would not slay you. And he said unto Jether, his firstborn, Up, and slay them. But the youth drew not his sword, for he feared, because he was yet a youth. Then Zebah and Zalmunna said, Rise thou, and fall upon us, for as the man is, so is his strength. And Gideon arose, and slew Zebah and Zalmunna, and took away the ornaments that were on their camels' necks. Then the men of Israel said unto Gideon, Rule thou over us, both thou and thy son, and thy son's son also, for thou hast delivered us from the hand of Midian. And Gideon said unto them, I will not rule over you, neither shall my son rule over you. The Lord shall rule over you. And Gideon said unto them, I would desire a request of you, that ye would give me every man the earrings of his prey. For they had golden earrings, because they were Ishmaelites. And they answered, We will willingly give them. And they spread a garment, and did cast therein every man the earrings of his prey. And the weight of the golden earrings that he requested was 1,700 shekels of gold, beside ornaments and collars and purple raiment that was on the king of Midian, and beside the chains that were about their camels' necks. And Gideon made an ephod thereof, and put it in his city, even in Ophrah. And all Israel went thither a whoring after it, which thing became a snare unto Gideon and to his house. Thus was Midian subdued before the children of Israel, so that they lifted up their heads no more. And the country was in quietness 40 years in the days of Gideon. And Jerubbaal the son of Joash went and dwelt in his own house. And Gideon had 70 sons of his body begotten, for he had many wives. And his concubine that was in Shechem, she also bare him a son, whose name he called Abimelech. And Gideon the son of Joash died in a good old age, and was buried in the sepulchre of Joash his father, in Ophrah of the Abiezerites. And it came to pass, as soon as Gideon was dead, that the children of Israel turned again, and went a whoring after Baalim, and made Baal-berith their god. And the children of Israel remembered not the Lord their God, who had delivered them out of the hands of all their enemies on every side. Neither showed they kindness to the house of Jerubbaal, namely Gideon, according to all the goodness which he had shown unto Israel. First Samuel 8. It came to pass, when Samuel was old, that he made his sons judges over Israel. But the name of his firstborn was Joel, and the name of his second Abiah. They were judges in Beersheba. And his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre, and took bribes, and perverted judgment. And all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together, and came to Samuel unto Ramah, and said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. But the thing displeased Samuel when they said, Give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto the Lord. And the Lord said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people in all that they say unto thee. For they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them. According to all the works which they have done since the day that I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me, and served other gods, so do they also unto thee. Now therefore hearken unto their voice, howbeit yet protest solemnly unto them, and show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. And Samuel told all the words of the Lord unto the people that asked of him a king. And he said, This will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons, and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. And he will appoint him captains over thousands, and captains over fifties, and will set them to ear his ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make his instruments of war, and instruments of his chariots. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers. And he will take your fields, and your vineyards, and your oliveyards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. And he will take the tenth of your seed, and of your vineyards, and give to his officers, and to his servants. And he will take your men servants, and your maid servants, and your goodliest young men, and your asses, and put them to his work. He will take the tenth of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. And ye shall cry out in that day because of your king which ye shall have chosen you. And the Lord will not hear you in that day. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, Nay, but we will have a king over us, that we also may be like all the nations, and that our king may judge us, and go out before us, and fight our battles. And Samuel heard all the words of the people, and he rehearsed them in the ears of the Lord. And the Lord said to Samuel, Hearken unto their voice, and make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, Go ye every man unto his city.